coming at you live from our studio in Las Vegas, Nevada. On today's show, we have a packed show. We have two guests, one in studio, one over the phone. We'll be doing some TA, some breakdown, a Bitcoin short squeeze. Also, Gary Gensler was in front of the Senate today. What did he have to say? Got his lollipop taken away. Also, we're talking Solana and FTX because we didn't get to yesterday. And a big acquisition by Ripple, and an exchange got hacked. So like I said, a lot to talk about. But before we talk about any of that, I'd like to introduce you to your other host. It's Rob.
Hola! It's your boy, Big Rob, back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, well, we're the entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel where other channels claim but do not deliver. And we are the entertainment capital of the world here in Las Vegas.
Which channel?
I name no names, but I'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
We bring the heat, we bring the juice.
We bring the shade.
The shade.
It's real sunny here.
And also, David brings the terrible analogies. Also, shut up.
Was that for me or him, Rocco? Let's clarify. Was that for me or him? Obviously, it's for me because you and Robin are cahoots together.
Man,
it's okay.
Right.
It's okay.
If this show gets any hotter, bro, your boy's gonna break out the bottom button and it's gonna be our shirts off.
Please, for the love of God. You and Rocco can have your little bro time because I got my bro time right next to me. We have a special guest in studio, and there's none other than Crypto Keeper from Debate Crypto. How you doing, bro?
I'm doing great, man. Glad to be here. We are the other entertainment crypto channel that Rob was about to toss a diss on.
Start some
but you know what I'm saying? He knows he's 2 feet away from me, and if my shirt comes off, we're gonna have real problems.
I think the last time you visited us, you broke.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was mind your business fault. It was mind your business fault. He started ripping his shirt off, and then
that is very true. That is very true. But I feel like you wore a cutoff shirt today to kind of embarrass me. Is that true?
You know what? I was getting ready this morning, and I was like, I think I'm going to be sitting right next to Dave. Let me look as muscular as humanly possible. It may have been a factor.
All jokes aside, man. Thank you so much. Keeper is in town for a big convention that we'll be going to as well, and we're going to a party, and maybe you can come join us. We'll talk about that a little later. But first, let's get into... Well, before we get into the videos, I do want to give shout outs to our 2 channel sponsors. Well, right now, one of them is Cam's Blue Wire Technology. If you run a business and you want to maximize your IT, your networking, and your cybersecurity, we saw what happened with MGM yesterday. Everything stopped working. You couldn't even get into your own room. Imagine that happening to your company. The amount of money you can lose. If you don't want that to happen, visit bluewiretech.com. They'll walk you through everything and make sure your security protocols are up to par. That link is in the description of this video. Also, shout out to new channel sponsor Radix, the top layer 1 DeFi in our space. Amazing team. Their CEO is great. He's joined us before. He'll be joining us again towards the end of this month. Radix, radically better DeFi. If you want to play in their sandbox or use some of their apps, visit radixdlt.com or click the link in the description of this video. Now, speaking of videos, we all have kids here. And, well, some people exploit their children. And what do I mean by that? Here's
You ready?
What's going on here? What is that?
yeah, the lights go out. Yeah.
Oh,
I like this better.
Are these your dance moves, Rob?
These are my dancers. Oh, and what happened there?
That's so wrong, bro.
No, guys, it's from his back. Look, his back fell off. His spine.
Oh yeah, this is back.
Yes,
Yeah.
Definitely is back.
There we go. Somebody blew his back out.
It is back in heat.
These are children.
He is
Robin.
back in heat.
Sicko. I also have this. Speaking of dance moves, I would like you guys to rate my dance moves in comparison to Vice President Kamala Harris. And I do have to kill the audio on this one because it's probably copywritten. But, get down with the get down. You do the lean back and the look like,
Why is she wearing that like ugly ass 80s outfit? What is that?
We're taking it back, baby.
Come on, girl. You
And
a
then you
vice
got- and
president.
then you gotta point at
dress
someone.
better than that.
You got to point. You got to do the arm wave. Okay. Anyways.
What an ugly ass shirt.
That's Vice President Kamala Harris. And I don't really go to the gym a lot. I'll be honest. You guys obviously do.
No.
Well, Keeper obviously does.
didn't know.
Robin, I don't know.
This is a
Robin,
man. Why you fooled me this whole time? I thought you was straight. Getting it in, bro.
we know Keeper goes, obviously. Robin, not so much. I don't know. He says he goes, but we can't really tell. Yeah. Anyways, peanuts. But you sure? So we do have this video, guys. Always practice safe, gym. And well, obviously, as you're working out, there definitely should have a spotter here.
Oh no.
Yeah. Well, what do you guys think happens? I'm just gonna
This is
play.
gonna go all bad. He's dropping those dumbbells.
No, you know why it's not gonna go all bad, Keeper? Is because bros protect bros. Okay.
Oh.
We got the spotter spot and the spotter, and then the spotter spot and the spotter. But guys, full demand.
Hold
Like
on.
we are
There
a
it is.
team. We do not let each other down. And so, gentlemen, just practice safe.
I feel like
Jim.
dude should be pressing up 100-pound dumbbells for that, right?
He was.
And those are definitely like 45s.
Speaking of weird situations, let's take a look at this. So, they're both scrolling on their phone, and he's zooming in on the buttocks. And he's like, "Wait, what is going on here?" And she was watching the entire time. Man, be careful, guys.
At least he wasn't swiping. He wasn't
Very
on,
Very true.
Tinder.
Guys, speaking of hair,
What is
let's talk about utility, guys, okay? Crypto projects talk about utility. NFT projects talk about utility, but is
Is this a crypto show? I'm just kidding.
this the only utility that I am looking for? And that is to use my hair as popcorn machine.
Wow.
Look at some NFT
You
projects.
put
we have utility.
Oh, and then eating out of his hair. Ooh.
Well, guys,
Pass.
you wash the hair
well,
first.
I mean, sometimes you gotta sneak snacks into the movie theater, right?
That's actually a
And
good
as
point.
a man, you don't have a purse, so
Okay.
Mm,
All right. I'm with it.
okay. Is it wrong of me
yes.
as a masculine dude to bring a blanket to the movie theater?
Not at all, Robin.
Hmm.
Not at all.
You
Well, it
have a
depends.
female with you.
What kind of blanket is it? Is it like a character, like a Marvel character blanket?
No, it's
Or-
just like one of those like plush ones you get at.
No, you're good, bro.
Okay, I'm good.
Good. Yeah, you're
Yeah, I have one of those pool bags. I'm just so it's not like I just throw it in there, and yeah, I also got some snacks in there.
good. Snacks are always good. Guys, let's play a game. We have this. And what do you think happens to this guy?
I think there's going to be a sign that's
You've
going
seen
to come
this.
up
You've
and smack.
seen-
No, I have not seen this.
You've seen this video, bro. Don't
What
lie.
else could happen? He's going to get smacked. There it is. I really haven't seen that.
Fair enough. Okay. Then we have this. Pelosi announced his bid for 2 more years of insider trading. Oh, man. So we're actually watching a video. I don't have the video, but we're watching a video, and Nancy Pelosi was asked about insider trading. And she was pretty much like, look, we're all citizens. We all have access to capital markets. And me and Keeper were talking before the show, like, okay, fine. If you're going to be able to invest in the stock market as a politician who also creates rules and regulations, there should be some limitations,
Yeah.
i.e., if you buy something, you can't sell it for until at least after 3 months. Or what did you say, Keeper? What was one idea you kind of brought up?
Yeah, I just said if there's legislation that's surrounding whatever asset that you're trying to get into or out of, I think that you should have a time period in which you can't be trading that asset. Period. I mean, it's simple. Right?
What do you think, Rob?
I think politicians shouldn't be trading the stock market. Period.
Should not?
Period. You think zero, like just
Yeah.
can't be a regular.
Yeah. You can't pay. Okay, I'm sure there are some laws and some legislations that have no influence, but there are plenty of laws that do that cross jurisdictional lines, and there's always somebody behind the scenes with money that can influence a politician and incentivize them to be like, hey, pass this bill. And if you're in negotiations and talks, you know that your discussions are going to essentially pump a stock or a sector later on. It's a no-brainer. Why wouldn't you position yourself? If I know as a politician, hey, I'm about to close this deal that is private and it's going to increase the price of oil or whatever factor. Wouldn't I put it in a position in oil? Right? And if it's not illegal, then why wouldn't you?
So would it stop politicians from actively like diving into being a politician? Because I think a lot of these politicians get in because they know the advantages that are coming.
No, it's a conflict of interest. It's the same reason if you play basketball, you can't bet on sports. If you play in the NBA, you should be able to bet on NBA games. If you pass laws in Congress that directly affect the performance of companies and their stocks, you shouldn't be able to buy and sell stocks. It's very simple. I don't know why it's so complicated. You know what is complicated? The fact that we only got 50 likes, over 120 viewers, that means we got over or less than a 50% like ratio.
Good man.
I will have to come up outside of this TV and smack you upside the head with this like sign if you don't hit it. Also,
hit it, and then guys, make sure after you hit it, you quit it. Don't hit it twice because that's not nice.
This is my segment. Okay? Thank you. Now,
you see what I'm talking about, bro?
We got
how in cahoots they are.
We do have some new people here as well. If you are new, say hello so we can drop an hola back at you. We got Yair Navarro, Armando Rodriguez, Super Smoke, Johnny Two Pockets, Ashley D, who said hello, David.
Yeah. Notice you said David.
There's two hosts here. Okay.
Hi, Ashley.
We also got Il Hero, Alex Green, and Lisa Autry. To all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto.
Hey, that's not a bad idea. In the chat, it says only invest in index funds. I could maybe get on board with that. I like what you're saying, Rob, but I think a basket of funds, maybe get on board with that.
I say don't do it.
Just can them, X them out.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
Well, how can they live off of only $183,000 a year, Robin?
Exactly.
You're someone considerate. Guys, let's get into our market segment. We're about to bring on a special guest. But first, today's market segment is brought to you by our other channel sponsor, and that is I Trust Capital. They are the leading self-directed crypto IRA platform in our space. They have tons of top-tier cryptocurrencies and precious metals that you can invest in long-term and enjoy some of those gains tax-free in retirement if you set up a Roth IRA. And if you use the link in our description, you will receive a free $100 once you fund your account. So big shout out to them. And before I look at the markets, I want to bring on one of our favorite TA people that has joined our channel once a month. We love having him on. It is none other than Dan from the Chart Guys. Dan, how you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me again.
Hey, man, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you. Anything new and exciting in your on your channel and your personal life before we get into what the hell's going on in the crypto market?
Well, the seasons are changing. It's getting chilly, so the fall is in the air, which is nice. And cannabis stocks have had a really good 2 weeks. Volatility, interest returning there, so some fun.
Okay. Love me some cannabis stocks. Now,
Or just cannabis. I don't know which, but
no,
I like the shirt. You've been hanging out with Kamala Harris lately.
what the hell?
Yeah, I was when you started ripping her shirt, I thought, oh, my shirt's
he's
pretty
like, I'm
close.
changing.
That is funny, man. Dan, we appreciate you joining us as always, my friend. Let's take a look at where the crypto markets are at. Actually, first, let me share this headline with you, Dan, and I want to get your opinion on the chart here. So this is from Cointelegraph. Bitcoin price must take 26K, which we are literally at right now, 26K flat. A trader says after textbook short squeeze. Dan, can you kind of enlighten our audience about what exactly is a short squeeze and what does it look like on the chart? And is that what we're seeing happen to Bitcoin right now?
Sure. So a short squeeze is essentially, the analogy that I give is everybody gets to one side of the boat. Everybody's looking in one direction and then the boat flips over. And so essentially you get bears extremely confident. You know, they've had it on easy street. They get overconfident. And then a big move happens and you get a cascading effect where, you know, the bulls will be buying at the ask and then the bears are forced to buy at the ask as well. And that short covering magnifies the move significantly. And whether or not that's happening right now, you know, to a small degree, I wouldn't call it a textbook short squeeze because we are on top of a major support, which I'll show you in just a moment. And so, you know, that's something that bears are looking at and saying, okay, well, I don't want to get overconfident because we are still holding this support zone. And so if that weren't in play, then maybe the bears would be overly confident. But I think anybody looking at the charts right now, everybody's focused on this area. We call it, you know, a level from space. Everybody can see it. And so I think that's going to prevent bears from getting too overly confident, knowing that it's possible this support holds.
Okay. And what we know Bitcoin's right now at 26K. What's the structure looking like on the charts, whether that's on the hour, 4 hour, daily? What are you looking at? And what is the next big level of resistance that we need to reclaim to kind of get back on this, I would say, micro uptrend?
Sure. So we are looking at, essentially, we've had a 3-month low at 25.2 thousand, and we had a 6-month low at 24.7. So I'm calling that a support zone because it's essentially, you know, a 2% range, and we have held it now twice in the last 6 months. And so yesterday we broke the 3-month low. We did not break the 6-month low. And this is the response. This is bulls saying, nope, we're defending support. We're not rolling over fully just yet. But we also just rejected from resistance. The high of the last dinky bounce attempt was 26.4, 26.5, and that's exactly where we just topped out. So essentially what we have is more of a stalemate where the bulls are playing defense and the bears are playing defense. And so it's potentially a bit more of a wait and see kind of market. What I need to see is the bulls convincingly get over 26.5 thousand and ideally get back up to 28 where we topped out the last time around. But it has to happen with trend changes. We get a nice move off the low. Okay, that's great. But we've got to confirm a 4-hour uptrend. And we have CPI numbers tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern. And that's pretty much going to dictate things because we know the dollar is going to significantly react and the metals and stocks. And so on the CPI reaction tomorrow, we're either going to get back most of this move if it's a bear reaction, or that will shape up the possibility that we confirm that 4-hour uptrend and then set our sights back on this $28,000 top from a couple weeks ago.
And if we do trend down, right? CPI, as you mentioned, CPI numbers come out tomorrow. If we do trend down, we know 25K is a good level of support. But if that gets broken, where are we headed?
After 20, for me, it's 20.
That's where I'm headed. I'm letting you know that right now.
For me, it's 24.7. If that breaks, I'm looking down towards low 20,000. So, 21, 22.
Wow. Okay. Guys, anything on Bitcoin? Anything you gentlemen want to add here in studio before we move on to traditional markets and some altcoins? Rob, Keeper?
No, I don't know. I've been echoing the sentiment that we consolidate or continue consolidating at 25,000, and you lean more on that support of being 25 or losing it. Or if you had to put probability or maybe your personal sentiment on what direction you think it might lose at 25K, or do you think it's strong enough for it to hold for a few weeks? Because I feel like there's a lack of big news that's going to rally the markets. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, we've definitely been holding it for 5 weeks. I mean, the low of every single week is off of this zone. Honestly, there are points where I just throw my hands up and say, I don't know. And so I look at this and I'll give it a 50-50. And it's important that we say that and recognize that in ourselves, because we don't always have to have high conviction. And we need to recognize when we don't have high conviction, that means sit on your hands and be patient and wait for more information to then give us some high conviction. So, if you put a gun to my head, I'm looking for the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ to potentially be shaping up weekly lower highs. So maybe I'd give it a 55% chance that we break support. But in all honesty, it's just a wait and see point for me.
I feel like the only new, we've seen some really big news in the markets, and Bitcoin has reacted very quickly and then come right back. It continues to come right back. I feel like the only news we could have right now, we've been talking about this on Debate Crypto, would be the spot ETF getting approved. I guess I would have a quick question for you. What do you think of that CME gap? Do you think CME gaps hold weight as it relates to Bitcoin? I know there's a CME gap around 20K. Is that something that you're looking to possibly fill? Or you're just saying, hey, we hold 24/7 and we're not going to go down there. If we don't, it's a very good possibility.
Yeah, I haven't paid much attention to the gaps in Bitcoin. It's definitely worth watching. I treat gaps in stocks the same way where, do most gaps fill? Yes, statistically, but you can also go back and find gaps on Netflix, at $18 or whatever that just are never going to fill unless the company goes bankrupt. And so, it's useful in the sense that if we break this 24/7 level for me, I don't have a ton of clear levels nearby. So I would then default and say, okay, well, then, looking for that gap fill is potentially something to be keeping an eye on. And, that's the case where, just an example, NVDA, the stock, we just had a weak little daily bounce and this little gap here, we fill and then we rolled over yesterday. And so they can be used as short-term targets. Essentially, I care about 24.7 on Bitcoin a lot more. But if that level breaks and now becomes resistance, then we can start looking towards that gap as a target.
Awesome. You did mention the NASDAQ and the S&P. What's the macro looking like, the traditional markets? And do you pay closer attention to any specific index? Is it more the S&P, the NASDAQ, the Russell, or the Dow Jones?
It's really for me. It's the Nasdaq, just because so many of the high flyers are large holdings in that, whether it's Tesla or NVDA and things like that. But it's really just the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq. The Dow Jones is your grandpappy's stock market of just a handful of companies versus 500 in the S&P 500. So it's really just SPY and QQQ give me the overview of where the market stands, because the S&P 500 is essentially the tech sector, the financial sector, and the healthcare sector. Those are the three largest holdings. So you do get a pretty broad view. And just to go back to your comments about politicians, I'm on board with politicians. If you want to be in the indices for the broader market, that's fine. If you want to bet on the economy of America long term, you got to hold for a year plus. That's fine with me. But it's got to be a basket covering all these different sectors rather than a specific individual company.
Yeah, and that kind of goes to what Keeper was saying. I kind of agree. At the end of the day, they are American citizens, even though they're elected officials. But there definitely needs to be, like what you said or you guys said, hey, either only index funds or hey, you got to hold for a year or whatever the case may be. Guys, I'm gonna pull up the crypto bubbles here, but we're gonna take a couple of requests from the chat. So if there's any crypto you want some TA on, throw it in the chat, and we'll pick a couple ones. We'll ask Dan to do some TA. I'm gonna swap over here and take a look at the crypto bubbles. A lot of green today. Rollabit is up 20.4%. Bitcoin Cash at 9.7 in the green. Toncoin 11.3%. And then we have a few ones around that 5% level. The biggest losers on the daily: Trust Wallet Token, Near Protocol, XTZ. Dan, let me ask you. So we have a lot of community members here that are big fans of Caspa, and I see a lot of Caspa in there as well. So KAS is the token symbol. What does the chart look like on Caspa? I know it had a pretty decent run up. If I swap over to the weekly here, it is up 21.5% over the last week. What are some key support and resistance levels that you see on the chart?
Sure. So this is what I would be looking for as an equilibrium, is what I call just higher lows and lower highs. So essentially we had the big old breakout. We start the consolidation. It's pretty significant. That's a retracement of about 50% of that 5-week move up. And then we set the higher low. So 321 is a key support now on the weekly time frame, because if that were to be lost, that would essentially be confirming a weekly downtrend, and bulls would lose a lot of that momentum. So that's, you want uptrends to be stair steps up, and that's our most recent stair step. So we've got to hold that level to keep the progress moving forward. I do anticipate that the most likely scenario would be a lower high compared to 524, where we came from, and to tighten up within this range for a bit. What you will very often see in markets, doesn't matter what you're trading, doesn't matter what time frame, is periods of volatility. When you have a significant move in one direction and then a significant retracement, you then tighten up within that range more often than not. And if you get familiar with that kind of pattern, which again is all over the markets, it can help you determine probabilities and try and trade within that. So okay, maybe I want to take a little bit of profit anticipating a weekly lower high just in case we do roll over again. But I would suggest for anybody that's newer to TA, look up equilibriums and tightening ranges after periods of volatility, because it's classic. It's the most common pattern in markets, where you get the volatility, then the volume will drop off as we tighten up. And then eventually you get to a point where the tightening range breaks and then volatility spikes again. So not only does it help you with guidance of support and resistance, but it also tells you, slow down your trading. You're in a tightening range, and it tells you when to speed up and pick up your trading and get more aggressive when those tightening ranges break.
Awesome. And then one last one, and because we're going to talk about Solana here, if we could take a look at the Solana chart, there is fears of a massive dump, with FTX now being able to sell their crypto that they hold into dollars, and they own about $1.1 billion worth of Solana. We're going to get into the details of that, but Solana looks like, and you got the chart up here, it has kind of been spilling off. Where's the next stop for Solana? And what is the chart telling you?
Yeah, the break of 20 definitely shifted things. And, I'm seeing on my social media as well, all the bear posts talking about the unlocking. What you will generally see is, the market prices in the known event of an unlocking of shares or coins, and it prices in a lot of it in advance. And then so oftentimes the bottom will be set, once if we were to get a headline, hey, FTX has sold all their Solana, we're going to get a big bounce. And so it's definitely relatively weak. And that has been the case now. Clear daily downtrend, just every little bounce is a lower high and lower low. And so now $20 previous support is acting as resistance today. You can see, we held it for a week and then we dumped through it. And now we're back testing it. And we just rejected from, or actually I'm talking 19, not 20, excuse me. So 19 was support. And then we just back tested and rejected from it. As far as next levels, I'm looking at 1832 is a little level that stands out, but there's not a ton between, 18s and 15s. So I'm expecting the most likely scenario will be a monthly higher low compared to 1280, which is where we came from. But certainly, in no rush to be looking long. I need to see signs. Again, we use our Bitcoin pairing charts to gauge relative strength and relative weakness. And as long as this chart is big and red, this is showing us that we are weaker than Bitcoin. So for every drop that Bitcoin sees, we're dropping harder. For every bounce Bitcoin sees, we're not bouncing as significantly. And so I need to see signs that this downtrend, which again, very clear, just lower highs and lower lows, every bounce, I need to see signs that something is shifting there and that the relative weakness that has been prevalent for weeks is shifting towards relative strength if I'm going to be looking for a temporary bottom to be set in Solana.
Awesome. Man, we love having you on, Dan. As always, thank you so much. If people want more, Dan and the Chart Guys, where can they find you?
We're all over the internet. We got the YouTube Chart Guys. We've got @Chart Guys on Twitter. And we got the website chartguys.com covering everything market related, depending on where there is interest. And right now, certainly, we know the Google trends are down in crypto, and there's a lot, or I should say a lack of interest. Searches are at 5-year lows. I see it in all of our analytics, but the little hope is that it's just a cycle and we always go through this. And cannabis just did it. For 2 years, cannabis stocks straight down and now revived from a little bit of news and some price action. So just got to be patient through the boring and wait for the sunny skies to appear again.
Awesome. Speaking of appearing again, can we see your face appear again? Just so when people go looking for your content, they know exactly what you look like in that beautiful free-flowing hair.
What is going on?
There we are.
My man. Guys, go subscribe to the Chart Guys. Go follow Dan on Twitter. I believe we have it pinned in the comment of the chat. No, we're going to pin that in the comment of the chat here in a second. Go subscribe. We love having Dan on. Dan, we look forward to having you on again. Thank you so much, my friend, and we'll see you next time, brother. Take care.
Appreciate it. Have a great day, everyone.
All right. Thank you.
Dan.
Have a go, man.
All right, Robin, I know you're itching to talk. Go ahead.
The cannabis stocks are getting really high, by the way. I don't know if you guys caught that.
Yeah. But
Okay, Rocco's not going to give you that because you're not Robin. Anyways, go ahead, Robin. You wanted to talk about something?
I was just going to give a little shout out to the chat.
No, I know you were.
Real
That's why
love.
that's why I-
And so if you are new here, say hello so we can drop that hola back at you. We got Rick, Print 3D, Sativa V, Lando, Ginger, A-Train, Mike Mene, Paul Axis, Keith Bosher, and 2E Enterprises. To all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. Also, we are at a 100 flat like ratio or like metric here.
Like
And-
metric.
Yes, that's right. And we have 173 viewers. Now, if you've hit the like button, I would like to start what's called the Ola train.
Mm.
And so to give us consensus on your like button, don't you lie. If you've hit the like button, type Ola in the chat. So we should see over 100 Olas.
Did you say hi to 2E Enterprises?
I did. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, a
Did you
couple.
say hi.
I did. Couple quick hitters here before we get into what is FTX doing and then some Gary Gensler. The crypto exchange Coinex is suspected of being hacked, and so far its ETH, Tron, and Polygon hot wallets have lost more than $27.8 million. Guys, be careful. I say this all the time. Exchanges are to exchange your tokens. Wallets, just like your regular wallet in your back pocket right now, is used to hold your money. Okay? So I personally leave a little bit of money on Coinbase, but I am prepared to lose that money. If Coinbase, not being serious, I have mentally prepared that if something happens, that money's gone. And so that is the best way to prepare yourself. Don't leave anything on the exchanges that you're not willing to lose. If any, don't leave anything on the exchanges. And so there we have that. We also have this. I mentioned earlier, Franklin Templeton has just filed for a spot ETF. I saw a tweet somewhere. Someone said now with all the like the BlackRocks, the Fidelities, the VanEck, we're looking at 21.7 trillion in assets under management when you combine all these TradFi companies that have filed for a spot ETF. How much of that money will flow into Bitcoin? That remains to be seen. But I think we're all in agreement here in studio that a spot ETF, when that thing gets approved, you know what? Let me ask you, Keeper. Spot ETF gets approved. Let's say it gets approved tomorrow. Where's Bitcoin's price tomorrow? We're at 26K now. Spot ETF gets approved tomorrow. Where's Bitcoin's price?
You might hate my answer, but I don't think we're going to have the bull. I think we're going to respect the 4-year cycle. I don't think we're going to have the actual bull run kickoff until we get closer to the halvening. I think that we'll see a pump for sure. So we're at, what are we at right now? 26 flat, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
I could see us going north of 30, maybe even approaching 31, 32, have a nice big pump. And then all of the longs will get washed out. I think the same game's going to happen. I think macroeconomically, we still have the same problems we did the day before, and I don't think that that's going to go away. I think we're still in for some pain no matter what. Like I said, I think it'll be short term, short lived. It'd be a nice little pump, but then I think we're dumping back down because I don't think the money's not going to flow. It's not like it goes live tomorrow. You're going to have a lot of people that are going to get in with the understanding that more money is going to be coming in over time. But it's not like it opens up and all of a sudden all of these funds are just going to start dumping trillions of dollars in.
I will push back on you a little bit. I'll say this. When a futures ETF got approved, $1 billion in the first day flowed into futures ETFs.
And how much would $1 billion change Bitcoin right now? Not squat.
$1 billion in liquidity is a lot of money.
Yeah.
And what you got to understand too is, whereas a futures, you don't have to go out and buy the underlying asset. With a spot, you do.
Right.
Add on top of that, the FOMO people are going to start feeling like, oh my God, it's here, it's happened. On top of BlackRock, VanEck, everyone else having to go out and physically purchase the amount of Bitcoin that is held in their ETF. I think it's gonna be massive.
I would happily be wrong. I would love
Same
to
here.
see these markets absolutely take off. I just don't see it.
We'll see. What do you guys think? Are you with me or Keeper? Let us know in the chat. Put a 1 for David, put a 2 for Keeper. Speaking of keeping, FTX is not keeping their Solana and other things. As this tweet from Miles Deutscher, an updated FTX asset report was just released. On Wednesday, they will likely get approval to liquidate their $3.4 billion worth of crypto. Here is a breakdown. And double the amount of the next one, which is Bitcoin, is Solana at $1.16 billion. Everyone is freaking out. Don't freak out. I'll tell you why. 560 million in Bitcoin, 192 in ETH, Aptos, XRP, BitDAO, is that BitDAO? And then STG, no idea what the hell that is. And here is a visual representation of that. And then we have this article, Solana price plunges on rumors buy or sell now. This was published yesterday. FTX is scheduled to appear in Delaware bankruptcy court on Wednesday, September 13th, to seek approval for the liquidation of $3.4 billion in the crypto tokens we just covered. The event has led to widespread concerns among market analysts and participants who speculate that the liquidation could exert significant selling pressure on an already fragile market. It goes into the Solana. Now, Israel say, don't worry, be happy. The SOL tokens held by FTX are not readily available for sale. The tokens are under a lockup agreement. Now, whether they can void that agreement is a different story. I don't even know if that's possible. I'm not a law expert here. Oh, hey, Dan. I'm not a law expert here, but that's something that crossed my mind. Well, what if because they're in bankruptcy now that contract is null and void? Is it locked up via a smart contract that can't be that can't be manipulated? That answer I don't know, but with the information we have, it's not all going to be locked and dumped on the market. The reality is that these tokens are locked and will undergo a linear vesting process spanning from 2025 to 2028. Accessing the funds prematurely is not an option.
I believe FTX also said that they are going to manage your funds appropriately as well. So I don't really trust probably anything that's coming.
Well, now it's under bankruptcy court. That's the thing. When you file bankruptcy, the judge has to approve every single decision. You want to go pee? You got to ask the judge. Furthermore, specific tranches.
I gotta go pee.
Bro, just be quiet. Furthermore, specific tranches, such as the 7.5 million SOL acquired from Solana Labs by Alameda, will only become available on March 1st, 2025. Another tranche of about 61,800 SOL is slated to unlock May 17th of 2025. Gentlemen, are you guys worried
Yes.
about... You are? Okay, go ahead.
I would say this. Whatever is available to unlock, they're going to be sold at lower than market price, even at over the counter. And it's going to be very, very hard for a company not to take the incentive to flip it for a profit immediately, right? Obviously, if they buy, say, millions of
Unless a
tokens-
company like Solana Labs buys it back, right?
Yeah, if Solana, yes. But outside of the original founding team or devs, anybody that buys it, first of all, they have too many tokens that they have to get rid of, right? And I'm sure some of those are liquid. I know that through the smart contract, it sounds like they're going to be locked up to a vesting schedule that is not negotiable. And so for that reason, I think that it's not going to be a doomsday scenario. The price is going to crash 90% from where it is now. I don't think that's realistic, but I do think that if I'm say an investor, venture capital company, and I decide to pick up some Solana over the counter from this liquidation sale, then at that point, I'm going to buy at a discount. What's the price of Solana? $4, right?
Wait, what?
No. 18?
Yeah, like 17
Or-
some.
Or excuse me, 17. Yeah. So, anyways,
So Solana
yeah,
is
17,
currently...
sorry.
Yeah, 1781.
So at $17, if you got it at discount, I mean, they bought these tokens at
Under $1, I
they
believe.
bought it at
Yeah.
under $1. So even at under the counter, I mean, they're not going to get the market value for it. And so, what do you think they were going to pay? Somewhere between $10 and $15.
But is this part of the overall game plan? This is all venture capital money to begin with. If we recall from the last run, it was all venture capital pushing Solana. Are they going to look at this as the opportunity to be able to dump this price back down, and the venture capital is going to play with your money yet again,
I mean,
and use you as exit liquidity, and that's part of an
po-
opportunity that's at play?
Possible, but I think more likely is like, hey, I bought a token that is selling on the market for $17, $18. I got it for 12. I got 1 million of the token or whatever it is, and and say 25% of it is liquid. Why not recoup some of the money and take an immediate profit, right? You don't have to do it all in one buy, but you could sell 100,000 of those things at a time every 3 weeks or something, and just immediately take profits off the table immediately. And so that's my concern. I do think I would not be putting a position in on Solana. I am a long-term believer in Solana. I have had my doubts when it came to their uptime and them having the outages in the past, even though we've questioned it. But, I think that as time passes by, as more institutions partner with Solana or using the network, you have major credit card companies leveraging the Solana network. And with that said, I believe in the project. I just don't think that the price is going to hold up with as much tokens that are going to be dumped over to other companies that it's going to be hard not to sell it if it's there and you can get an immediate return of 20% gains on it.
Yeah. Anytime there's arbitrage anywhere, right? Whether it's you bought it over the counter cheap and you sell it on the market, or the exchanges have a different price, there's going to be people who take advantage of it. It happens across the board, not just in crypto, but in traditional markets as well. Then we had this kind of why I brought up Solana Labs buying back those tokens. This is from His Excellency Justin Sun, founder of Tron. Contemplating an offer for FTX's holding tokens and assets to reduce their selling impact on the community. Let's unite to bolster our crypto ecosystem. Justin Sun, the knight in shining excellency's armor, is saying, I will bail you out because from my understanding, looking back at this, there was no Tron. So Tron is not part of the assets FTX holds. So assuming he's talking about everything else. And so that's kind of interesting. Just real quick, guys, what are your thoughts on Justin Sun? Do you think this is all kind of to some good publicity, PR, like, hey guys, look, I'm going to save you. Don't worry.
100%. He's been in the spotlight for just about everything bad, negative, and now maybe he has an opportunity where he realizes, like you said, his tokens aren't going to get dumped on this. He probably will take an opportunity, possibly here, to do exactly what Rob was just saying and buy in at lower prices. He knows at the end of the day that it can look good PR wise, and then at the same time, he's going to be able to make money if these assets that he's buying into are assets that he believes in long term. I think it's a simple business play for him, and it looks good for social media.
What are your thoughts, Rob? Same question.
I don't trust dude, man.
I don't trust dude either.
I don't trust dude.
I don't either.
He's over here like, yeah, I'm help the community. Buy these tokens cheap so that way they don't get dumped on the market.
Yeah.
Little do you know, I have an exchange that also sells this. And
What a guy. What a guy.
Yeah, there you go.
Guys, he's here for the community, okay? He cares about us, all right? Someone asked, when Jimmy emoji? Guys, we need more members to unlock new emojis. And I'm making the unilateral decision that the next emoji will be a Jimmy emoji. I don't care what Robin says. We're going to make it happen. Now,
Good business talk there.
thank you. Thank you very much. Better than offering to pay money to fly people out here. Anyways, let's get into Gary Gensler here. All right.
Wait,
So,
a lot of 2 you got it before, eh? 1 and 2 we did it with keeper.
oh, yeah. A lot of twos.
Oh,
Okay. So
yeah.
people agree with Keeper. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah. Nothing
We'll
for
see.
you.
We'll see. Just have your bags packed.
I like how you said interesting and then said we'll see.
No, I'm saying like, no, like,
Interesting
We'll see.
chat. I
He
do
said,
not
"Oh,
agree with you
wow,
whatsoever.
what happens?
The chat agrees with him. Well,
No, I'm saying that's interesting.
we're gonna
We'll
have
see
to do
what
a
happens.
recount on the votes here.
That's right.
The Dominion machines are all
This
messed
ain't
up
Florida,
in
bro.
YouTube.
Okay, careful. Dominion did sue Fox for like 800 million. Just be careful, okay? And Tucker Carlson lost his job. Just be careful, Robin. Now, I mentioned Gary Gensler was in front of Senate today, and I'm a little disappointed as not a lot of crypto talk happened. But I did, guys, go follow us on Twitter, man. I posted all the clips I did. I did it on my phone, and I want to apologize in advance for the format here. I realized after the fact that I videoed him vertically instead of horizontally. And so my apologies there. But here is Gary Gensler saying he needs more help to sue.
We would like to see Gary Gensler horizontally versus vertically. Just want to throw that out there.
Damn.
Mm.
Sorry.
Messed up, bro. He's got a family, okay?
I get it.
Thank you. And last time we talked, I'm going to jump to cryptocurrencies, the enforcement that you are undertaking with respect to crypto. There was a challenge at the time because you were understaffed. Do you feel comfortable now that you have the staff that you need, particularly on the enforcement side when it comes to the fraud that unfortunately we're seeing related to some crypto?
I would widen it out. The agency is only 3% larger than we were 7 years ago. So I would say, no, we're not large enough as an agency, given that the markets have grown 50 to 70% in terms of activity, complexity, et cetera, during that time. In terms of crypto, more narrowly, I've been around finance for 44 years now, I guess. And I've never seen a field that's so rife with misconduct. It's daunting.
Thank you. And
Interesting.
last time we talked,
Okay. Next, we have Gary speaking on, refers to himself as Little Gary. Well, what does it mean? Let's take a look.
And we look forward, if you're thinking about legislation, to work with you on that. But I do think that deception is deception. And I wouldn't let anybody tell you that there's no human behind the algorithm. There's still some human behind the algorithm that's setting the broad hyper parameters. These are the top level. What's the algorithm training on? I would note that there was a deep fake on little old me that I had resigned that was put out in the middle of the summer. And I guess somebody was trying to influence stock market prices or crypto prices one way or the other. And
Wow.
my comm shop had.
Okay.
So, you know what I like? I like that he said there's a person behind the algorithm. Like, who exactly built the internet? Are we? Is there
I like how he
is
said.
there a CEO of internet?
I like how he said deception is deception, and this is the same man that is a puppet for all of these massive institutions that are fighting against the crypto ecosystem as a whole. And he knows from being a blockchain, we were talking about this before the show, he knows from being a blockchain professor Like, he understands crypto. He's not an idiot as much as we want to think that he's just
He's definitely
dumb.
not an idiot.
He's definitely not an idiot. And he knows that what he's doing is fighting against a system that ultimately is going to win. He's just slowing down the process. That, for me, is deceptive in and of itself. So if he wants to play that deceptive game, let's play it, because he's doing it.
That's an interesting take, Keeper. And to what Robin said, is there someone behind the internet, right? And what he a little bit more context about what he was talking about. They asked about holding people accountable when it comes to AI, and they're like, "Well, how do you do it with AI is AI?" He's like, "Well, if someone created the parameters, can you say the same thing about someone creating the internet or someone creating a code or a protocol? And however people decide to take that product and mold it and shape it into what it becomes." We saw what happened with Tornado Cash.
Oh.
Guy writes code. I'm not saying anything he did, whether it was illegal or not legal. I'm talking about the code itself, the contract, the protocol, Tornado Cash. They're blaming the original creator of it for what's happened and how people have used the platform. So what are your thoughts on Gary Gensler essentially saying we're always going to go back to the origin? We're going to go back to the origin of who created this AI, who laid out the parameters, and if that AI decides to do something bad, then we're going to go after that person. Doesn't that hinder innovation? Like, Rob, if you were like, put yourself in someone's shoes, right? You're getting ready to create this super cool protocol. It's AI technology, this, that, and third. But now you're kind of sitting there. You're like, well, I don't know, because after I launch it, I'm going to take my hands off of it, right? Now I got to worry about what people do with it and if I can get thrown in jail.
Yeah.
Doesn't that harm future innovation?
It does. I mean, and I don't know why this is only in the crypto space, right? If I decide to run an app that lets you rent your house out, like a Airbnb, and all of a sudden somebody comes in and steals a television, you don't go sue Airbnb, right? Like, if you're driving Uber and you get carjacked, it's now I know there are, with those companies or those examples, there are safeguards, and you can reach out, and they do have a security division and all that. So, I mean, it's not apples to apples comparison, but at the end of the day, the liability doesn't, the criminal liability doesn't lie on the platform.
That's a great point, Rob. I mean, ultimately, and what you're speaking of, even a little bit better way to mold it would have been like, if you Airbnb a house out and you turn it into a dope spot, is Airbnb liable for the fact that you started selling drugs out of? No, absolutely not.
I mean, it's not a good look, but at the same time, you're not gonna get drug charges
Right.
to the company that has the app. Like,
Yeah.
that won't happen. Now, maybe there'll be accountability, maybe there's some civil something, I don't know, in those particular situations, but the criminal liability doesn't equate there.
Yeah.
And so I don't know why, if I make an app, whether it's like Tornado Cash, where you can shift around your addresses, and there are viable reasons to use a service like that in a legal way, and there are benefits, to just have anonymity. And I don't understand why, if I created that code and somebody uses it for something illegal on their end, how I'm held responsible and I get locked up for it. So
My first thought was, when Dave asked, like, doesn't that hinder innovation? My first thought was, well, the one thing that I wouldn't be doing then is writing AI code, because you are effectively opening, if this is the game that we want to play, you're effectively just opening yourself up for future liability endlessly. I mean, just all the way down the road. So yeah, I would think that it for sure would stop people in their tracks and say, well, how can this be used? And if I'm going to be held liable for it, maybe I better not put it out.
Interesting. Rob, what's the club limit today? 180 likes? We're at 138. We got 221 people watching. 138 likes.
Come on, guys, smash that like.
is what is the club limit? 180?
180?
180? Okay. We haven't opened the club in a while.
Do
I
180.
think we did it early last week.
We can get to 180. I know we can get to 180. I believe in you.
Give me the camera.
Oh, God.
Put it on me.
See how he listens to him?
So, today's show is brought to you by this like button. It's our newest sponsor. If you'd like to invest in this channel and David's horrendous dance moves, I recommend you hit this like button so we get to 180 likes, which means we will open up the club, have a dance party, and who knows, maybe Keeper will take his shirt off.
No shirts. I mean, shirts, yes. Keep the shirts on.
Keep the shirt.
Keep her shirts on.
Yeah.
Get it? Oh, my God. Okay, now you see what I'm saying, Keith?
Yeah,
You
definitely.
see what I'm saying,
Definitely
bro?
a 2-on-1 going
There's
on.
collusion here, bro. Thank you.
Collusion.
It's not
Thank you.
2-on-1,
There is
it's common
collusion.
Logic.
There is
That was a
collusion.
bad joke, but
Yes.
No,
see?
there is collusion
There it is. There's
without
no
a
discrimination
without a
here.
doubt. There is
Bad
discrimination.
jokes.
Bad joke.
Bad jokes, dad jokes, they get the womp womp, bro.
Yeah.
That's it.
Whatever. You know who else gets the womp?
You know
womp?
why I don't get the womp womp is because I'm
Because
a
you're
funny
paying
dude.
him under the
I'm
table.
a funny ass dude, bro.
You're not a funny ass dude.
I'm
You're a funny
witty.
looking ass dude.
And
Now,
that
I
was
do-
good. That was good.
Yeah. Go ahead, Rocco.
Yeah, what do you want me to do that?
I don't even get an applause.
Yes.
Anyway,
There you
yeah,
go.
thanks.
There it is.
it's a good one.
It doesn't
He
count.
said I
after
look
the
funny.
fact.
That's a
Doesn't
good
count
one.
after- Robin.
Yes.
Got a
All right.
short one.
We're losing
Yes.
viewers here.
He needs
Okay.
more applauses.
Just be quiet. Here next is Gary Gensler on the appeals court ruining his reject the next NFT party. Or sorry, reject the next spot ETF party. So he was grilled here. Well, not grilled, but it was stated that, hey, y'all took a big L in the spot ETF and in regards to Grayscale on the appeals court. What are you going to do? Well, here's what he had to say.
Last month, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the District of Columbia unanimously ruled that the SEC's denial of Grayscale's spot Bitcoin ETF was, quote, arbitrary and capricious. They argued that the product is mathematically indistinguishable from already approved futures products currently trading on U.S. exchanges. So my question is, can you explain what the SEC needs to see in a filing to approve a spot Bitcoin ETF? And what questions do you still need answered from issuers about the market and or market infrastructure in order to allow this to happen? I'd just like to get some clarity.
Be very brief, and we're moving on. Chair Gensler.
Senator, I thank you for the question. We're still reviewing that decision and reviewing. We have multiple filings around Bitcoin exchange-traded products, so it's not just that one you mentioned, but it's multiple others who are reviewing them, and I'm looking forward to staff's recommendations. So, in similar questions.
Good point.
What
Last
is very
month, US
frustrating
Court
to
of
me is he's asked a very simple question, right? What do they need to do? What are you looking for? And he cannot give a complete answer. He cannot give a direct answer. And Forrest has been saying this. I've been saying this. He wants to keep that gray area as large as possible because once it gets approved, that's it. That's it. Like Bitcoin is now officially, Gary Gensler can't come out and say, oh, Bitcoin is a security, needs to register. That's it. That case will be put to rest. But if you keep the gray area as big as possible, you're able to go in there and pick your winners and give the people who are lining your pockets with money the chance and ability to do what they need to do to position themselves to take over the market like they've done in every single market in the history of capital markets here in the U.S. Do you gentlemen have anything to add to this? They're going to review the ruling. Anything you take out of that? Do you want to throw a conspiracy theory out there? Anything you're leaning towards? Please feel free, Keeper. I'll go to you first.
I mean, ultimately, it's the new Gary Gensler. Well, it's not new, but it's the Gary Gensler dance move. It's the curb. I mean, ultimately, he takes any question that he doesn't want to answer and he just kind of curbs it, pushes it to the side with a really benign answer. And I think you're 100% right. They just don't, there's no conspiracy behind it besides the fact that they know in the background that this is going to get approved, that the game plan is just how much can we slow this down in the process because we have people that we are tied to, that we have lined our pockets, that we're trying to line their pockets back, scratch our back, all scratch yours. And they're just trying to slow it down so that they can get themselves positioned to be in the best, have the best opportunity possible.
Rob, any thoughts?
No, just go ahead and approve the damn thing. Like, why are we waiting? I don't know.
I agree. Just approve the damn thing. All right, let's move on. I have a couple more clips. So this one, Gary G responds to comment about his agency taking massive L's in court. This is from Senator Sinema. I believe her first name is Kristen. I could be wrong. Either way, Senator Sinema. Here we are.
Moving more aggressively with rulemaking, the SEC is opening itself up to increased litigation risk. We've seen some recent legal setbacks for the agency, particularly in respect to cryptocurrency. So how are you assessing the agency's litigation risk with respect to the breadth of your rulemaking strategy?
We take Congress's mandates to us and the authorities we have very seriously, but also how the courts interpret them. And we're dedicated and committed to doing things just within our authorities and how the courts interpret it, but we get a lot of feedback also from the public on that.
The curb.
This is no. Listen to this. This was very interesting. Okay, let me rewind to what he talked about the courts. Okay,
Breadth of your rulemaking strategy.
We take Congress's mandates to us and the authorities we have very seriously, but also how the courts interpret them. And we're dedicated.
we take Congress's mandates seriously and how the courts interpret them. We have a lot of people on Twitter that were saying, hey, this can go one of two or three ways. The overarching way that people were saying is this is an out. Finally, this is a way for Gary Gensler to approve a spot ETF without making himself look like a complete idiot. It's to say we respect the rule of law. The judges have interpreted it this way. We have no choice as an agency that does things by the book to go with what the court said. Do you guys think that? Do you see that, or do you think I'm kind of reaching a little bit here?
No, I didn't catch it until you just said it, but I'm on board. Why not? He's looked like an idiot for how long now? And yeah, I don't see why he wouldn't take an opportunity that was presented to him to put. It's just like anything else. If you can shovel the what's the word I'm looking for? If you can put the blame on somebody else, why not do it? And that's effectively what it sounds like maybe is happening here. I didn't even catch that, but that's solid.
Rob, people care about how other people perceive them, right? How you're perceived as a person. To some extent, people care about how you're perceived. Do you think this is the perfect out for Gary, or do you think it's his hatred for crypto and Bitcoin and his love for traditional finance and these big companies is going to trump that?
He's financed. His whole damn company is financed by
44 years.
Yeah. Now here's the thing: they do fine companies, right? Crypto companies, and so yeah, they make money there. But how does the SEC operate, right? You would say, hey, it's a branch of the government, so it's taxpayer dollars that fund it, which it is true. But you think that there's no money funneling in from corporate America, from institutions into the most powerful people in that branch? And you could argue that the SEC is one of the most powerful, perhaps corrupt branches of government there is, right? I mean, they control the economy, right? Or at least how the private economy works.
Capital markets.
Yeah. And so to think that there's no collusion there's no persuasion from outside companies, I think is foolish. And there's just a long history of them cooperating in best interest of the banks and institutions. And now you have a threat to that entire system, at least on the banking side. And that is here. And it's taking adoption. It's taking money out of savings accounts, checking accounts, 401ks from traditional American companies. And it's leaving there to go to a private sector. A lot of these companies are offshore. And so the head of that agency that controls the private markets here in the United States is trying to put the brakes on it. No surprise.
Yeah, Rob, there was $1.5 trillion. We read an article the other day that just left the banks over the past
3-4 months.
Yeah, a few months. It wasn't a long time, but it was over $1.5 trillion. And if you don't think that is putting fear into the hearts of all of these traditional finance people, it for sure is. And who do they go to when they need somebody to stand up for them or to slow something down, like I've been talking about? For sure, the SEC. There's no way that their hands are clean in this. Not a chance.
So just to wrap up this subject, did any of the clips I showed that you saw, does it change your thoughts and what you think is going to happen on October 17th and October 16th when the next deadline for a spot ETF comes up?
I don't think so. I didn't hear anything that was polarizing to the point where I was like, wow. I think the ongoing discussions bring crypto to a position where, hey, at some point you got to make a move on this, right? You got to have some kind of clarity. He's got to get tired of sitting in front of there and just dodging questions and pretending like these 1930s act of that regulated companies and how they offer stocks and trade stocks in a time before there was the internet. Remember, how did you trade stocks in the 30s all the way up till like the 80s? Well, you had to be on the floor with pieces of paper if you bought stock in the 80s, you got a certificate that was mailed to your house that you would put in a safe.
Those are the good old days, man.
And
Phone in.
the laws were designed for that type of for that kind of system. And
But Robin, those laws have stood the test of time.
Yeah.
Some things are timeless, my friend. Guys, after watching these Gary Gensler clips, what percentage would you put on a spot Bitcoin ETF approval? Let us know. Throw numbers out there. One more thing I want to go over here is the news that Ripple continues to spend money as they have acquired Fortress Trust. I do want to note that Fortress Trust is the custodian of our channel sponsor, iTrust Capital. And so just to kind of go over some details here, Ripple Labs has unveiled new details about its acquisition of blockchain infrastructure company, Fortress Trust. The acquisition talks reportedly accelerated after Fortress's customers lost funds due to a security incident involving a third-party vendor. Now, I have reached out to iTrust to get some clarity on if everything's okay. We plan on bringing them on the show here, but as of right now, as far as I know, everything is good. And then Ripple stepping in, purchasing the company. We know Ripple's got longevity. They've been around for a while. There's even talks and rumors of them going public. So that'll be something interesting. So news details on the deal. Fortress had previously issued a statement on September 7th via Twitter confirming that the customers were affected by a third-party vendor whose cloud tools were compromised. However, Fortress assured that there had been no loss of funds. The statement read, quote, "Last week, 4 Fortress customers were impacted by a third-party vendor whose cloud tools were compromised. Thankfully, there was no breach within Fortress technology or systems. Impacted accounts are fully restored, and most importantly, of course, there was no loss of funds." Doesn't mean that funds weren't stolen. It's just that if they were stolen, they were replenished. However, the latest statements by the spokesperson paint a different picture. Ripple stepped in to cover the losses suffered by Fortress's customers, which possibly paved the way for the acquisition. The exact amount lost was undisclosed. Both companies refrained from commenting. Now, here's interesting, okay? Let me throw something out there. We did not see one tweet from Ripple saying, "Don't worry, guys, we're bailing out Fortress. We're gonna save crypto." They just did it. Then you have people like Justin Sun who come out here and say publicly, "Don't worry, guys, I'm gonna save crypto," and usually doesn't end up doing it. What are your thoughts on this acquisition? And what are your thoughts on the custody space in general, right? These are qualified custodians. Prime Trust was a qualified custodian. Fortress is a qualified custodian. And we've seen numerous times where they've lost customer funds, they've gotten hacked, they've lost private keys. What are your thoughts on the custody space in general? What, in your opinion, is there something that needs to happen? If these are regulated entities and this is still happening, how can any institution that wants to put billions of dollars in Bitcoin trust someone to hold their keys if they don't want to hold their own?
I just think this is going to always be a thing. Unless you're just working with just straight giant institutional accounts, and if you're going to have, let's just say thousands of accounts and there's money going in and out, there's going to be spots for error, right? And I think that there are certain companies that only manage a finite amount of accounts that custody Bitcoin particularly, and those typically are institutions. There's just not a lot of movement between on and off on these custodial agents. But if you're going to facilitate thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin wallet addresses, there's going to be some mistakes. And at the end of the day, if you keep true to who you are, because what we've seen before is that, hey, I'm a custodial agent, I messed up, I lost some funds. Now let me gamble with the other funds that we do have to try to recoup it, right? That's a common story.
That's what Prime Trust did.
That's exactly where I'm leaning at. And so mistakes are going to happen. And I think the best way of going about it, and what I would like to see, is that we have transparency when those mistakes do happen, and just make the end user whole. If it ultimately is your fault. Now, if it's 100% the customer's fault, perhaps some safeguards in place to make sure that they don't mess up their own funds. But if you're the custodial agent, you need to hold people's funds and or hold yourself accountable if you mess up, and just be honest and transparent. I think that's just the best way to go about it.
I think technology is continuing to evolve and change, and we're going to see criminals always taking advantage of that. Where they see an opportunity, where they see a gap, where they see a hole, they're going to fill it. And so, what I would see kind of as a possibility here, we have the FDIC in traditional banking, where the end user is, insured for up to $250,000, for as an example. I think that some of these platforms need to have some sort of a number, some sort of an insurance policy there, or they need to have funds set to the side for when this does happen. Because I agree with Rob. I think this is going to always be a thing because, like I said, technology continues to evolve and people are going to use it and criminals are going to look for those holes and they're going to find them. So if the end user knows, okay, up to this amount, my funds are going to be protected, and overall they're doing what, to the best of their ability, they're protecting my assets, they're protecting my funds, and I know that I'm protected up to this amount, then okay, I feel comfortable putting it there. But if there's no safeguards in place or I have no sort of guarantee on my money, that's kind of a scary event. Albeit right now with my hardware wallets, I don't have any guarantee on those. I personally could make a mistake, but I am taking responsibility for that. This is these platforms taking responsibility. And so I think that they need to have that sort of insurance policy per se in place.
Insurance is interesting, but I just have a hard time wrapping my mind around the amount of money that would need to be insured, right? We're talking billions of dollars. Like, what insurance companies is going to insure something for $1 billion? That could literally bankrupt your whole company, especially a new industry and product like Bitcoin, like storing private keys. But yeah, I would love to see it. I think that's more practical on a retail level.
Yes.
Right? On like Coinbase. I know Coinbase offers insurance if you subscribe to Coinbase One or any other platforms. But on the institution side, that's going to be intriguing. But I feel like someone is going to come up with a solution and it's going to be great. You know what else is going to be great? Or you know what else is great? Our channel sponsors. You want to give one last shout out to Cam's Blue Wire Tech? If you want to learn how they can help your business maximize your networking, IT, and cybersecurity, there is a link in the description of this video, or you can simply link at the screen and go on your website browser and visit bluewiretech.com. Also want to give one last shout out to Radix, the top layer one DeFi in our space. They are our channel sponsor as well. Radically Better DeFi, if you want to learn more about them. That link is in the description of this video as well. Now, Keeper, let's say the people watching, let's say they like you. And let's say they want more of you. Where do they find that?
Yeah, you can find us on YouTube. It's Debate Crypto. We have been, we're back to streaming now 6 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern, and then Sunday at noon. So you can find us there. And then if you like more of the politically charged side of things, on Sundays, we just started a new channel that's at 1 p.m. directly after Debate Crypto. That's Danger Close Alpha. I'm hoping to not get suspended from YouTube too quickly, but we definitely are walking the line over there. So come check us out. Have some fun with us. Yeah, that's where we're at. And then obviously Twitter and all the other platforms. But yeah, Debate Crypto.
Guys, we do have the link to their YouTube channel pinned in the comments. Make sure to go subscribe. Also, big shout out to Keeper as he hooked us up. We are going to the Rogue Bunnies party. So Breathe Convention is in town. Man, I want to see more conventions in Vegas, right? Breathe Convention is in town, and there is a big after party. This is happening on September 14th. We, Sin City Crypto and Debate Crypto Keeper, we will be at the Rogue Bunnies party. If you want to get tickets for yourself, if you want to come hang out, I heard it was at the Playboy Mansion. Is that true?
It is at a mansion, and we are going to have Playboy bunnies there. So get your tickets for sure.
I love bunnies. They're so cute. I like the animal bunnies, obviously. Babe, I love you. Now, I will go ahead and retweet this. There is a link if you want to come to the party. Make sure to do so. We just reposted it on our X account. I just can't with the X.
No, I know.
It's Twitter, bro. It's Twitter. Guys, also go check out our merch store, inandoutcrypto.com, where you not only find Sin City merch, but other merch as well, such as your favorite projects, SHIB, XRP, Ethereum, Cardano, Bitcoin, and much, much more. Not just for yourself, but for your lady friend, your dog, your car, and potentially, hopefully, your Quaker parrot. Gentlemen, anything you want to add before I tornado us out of here?
I don't think so. Have a great day, everybody. Hey, guys, thanks for having me on. For real. It's
Hey,
been a pleasure as always.
Thank you, my dude. Thank you for keeping your shirt on. Just kidding.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. With that being said, Rocco. We got outro music. Awesome. Guys, thank you so much for an amazing show. Make sure to come back tomorrow. CPI numbers are coming out. What will Bitcoin and the markets do? We'll be live. Same place, same time. Till tomorrow. Peace.
Sin City Crypto. Everybody know what we here for. Entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in. Big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I spit the game, but they gave it. Named according to your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy the dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming, hola, till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya to the moon and to the solar. Won't don't be letting FOMO control ya. It's over when the finger tornado close ya.
Is my mic live? TUI Enterprise, if you want to contact us, shoot an email to me, David at sincitycrypto.io. David at sincitycrypto.io. Thanks.